Jody, that's the stories you're telling are wonderful and it's amazing. My question is, some people in the church maybe are believers, but many need deliverance themselves. Can God still use them to touch others and bring them into the kingdom and set them free, or they need deliverance first themselves?
Well, God will use everyone. So let's just get that right. Number one, God will use us right where we are and right where we're at. But I want to say this. If you can hear my voice right now, God is stirring hunger in you. And when there's a fire on the inside of us, we're going to reach more people. Just because if you think about a fire in the natural, like just a forest fire, a bushfire, as Australians would say, just a fire in the natural, sparks come off a fire and other people catch a light. Other fires catch a light just because the roar of that fire is going to spark off into others. It's the same in the spirit. When you're on fire, you are going to have an effect that those who are lukewarm will simply not. And so what I want to say to you is stir the fire within. It's actually Leviticus 6:13. It's one of my favorite verses. And Leviticus 6:13 commands the priests to keep the fire on the altar burning at all times. And then it even goes on and says the fire must not go out. Well, the New Testament tells us that we're the royal priesthood. And so what that is saying to us, whatever it takes, whatever you have to do, don't let the world put out your fire. Stir up the fire again. Amen. Be burning for Jesus. Be passionate for Jesus. Let our excitement and passion for Jesus be louder than the world's antagonism towards God. Be louder than the world's unbelief. Let's walk in such a fire that everyone around us is stirred by our own fire. And to answer what the next question is, what do I do? I hear people saying, but what do I do, Jody, if I'm not on fire? What do I do? How do I stir that fire? Well, the number one thing you can do is acknowledge that you need more and then ask for it. Because Jeremiah 33:3 says, ask of me, call to me, and I will answer and show you great and mighty things you do not know. Well, if I'm not hungry, I can ask. I can say, God, make me hungry, or I've got a level of hunger, God, but I need more. I need more fire. I need to burn again, God. I can recognize that there's a level of just lukewarmness in my life, or there's a level of weariness in my life, or there's a level of I've been beat up by the enemy, and God, I got to stir that passion again, God. So I'm asking you, God. And I ask for our listeners, our viewers right now. I say, God, stir the fire in them again. Pour out oil on the fire because hunger is blessed. Matthew 5:6 says that blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness. So you know a few things. Hunger is blessed. And so when we stir hunger, God blesses it. Also, as we stir hunger, hunger is self-perpetuating. So the more we lean in, the more we ask for hunger, the hungrier we get. So let me give you a great tip for those listening. A great tip is this. The hardest part of stirring hungry, of getting hungry again, is simply acknowledging that I need to be hungry after God. And then the first step of simply pressing in again, of leaning in again and saying, God, pour your oil on me. Stir up the fires on the altar of my heart. God, pour oil on me again. The hardest part is simply stepping out the first time.
Amen.
So I just encourage you, get hungry. Stir hunger.
And we need to have this intimate fellowship and spending time with God daily, reading the word and praying, because this is not going to happen without that. I mean, the fire, the hunger. I mean, we need to hear from God, because we need a strategy too sometimes on how to go about, doing preaching the gospel and reaching, unbelievers. And we need to hear from God, because we need strategy. But that's
Yeah.
awesome. If you listen, I think if you need some fire, just keep listening to Jody. She's contagious, so she'll transfer, put that fire in you also. Then you will burn, and we are all contagious, and it spreads everywhere. The fire. That's awesome.
Well, listen, let me say this. One of the prayers that I have prayed for years and years and years now is, God, make me contagious. Make me contagious for you. And, I have seen over the years that God has increased that in my life. And so there's a key for everyone. Just pray, God, make me contagious. Listen, in the natural, since 2020, we have learned how contagious a virus can be. Well, how much more contagious is the fire of God? Amen.
Amen.
And so just ask God, make me contagious.
Make me contagious.
Make me a fire that burns in a contagious way. It's a prayer that God answers. And sometimes we can feel so flat and so beat up and so weary. Start praying that prayer, and God will answer it.
God will answer it. Amen.